Up north. Mecosta up north meant Mecosta, Michigan. About an hour drive from Grand Rapids, 60 miles straight into the woods. It wasn't just a getaway. It was a second home. Because so many of my dad's friends and relatives had retired there. Veterans, old-timers, people he grew up with. They called it the Old Settlers Reunion. A whole town gathering at the park, barbecues, swimming, drinking, camping. For me, it was family stacked on top of family. Our first stop was usually Tom Todd's. Tom was my dad's best friend after Junebug passed. Blind, but still sharp as a tack. His wife Laura always had the same running joke. Flush the toilet, Ronnie's here. She said it so the water would run cold for my dad's whiskey chaser. They had a daughter Marie, who had kids of her own. Taz, Freddie, Tom Jr., and a baby girl whose name I never knew because she was too young to remember back then. And there was Aggie, Marie's sister, who was special needs. Me and her were on the same wavelength as kids. We'd play dolls and listen to Michael Jackson's Thriller on her record player. Aggie used to sneak up behind me, kiss me on the back of the head, and giggle, kiss hair. She once tricked my dad too. He told her no when she wanted a sip of his whiskey. So she grabbed a watermelon from the garden, handed it to him. "Look, Uncle Ronnie, watermelon." He held it, admiring it. And the second his hands were full, she swiped his glass and downed the drink. Everybody laughed their asses off. My dad just shook his head and said, "Yep, you got me." Laura had another quirk. She echoed Tom. He'd say, "We went to the store the other day," and she'd repeat, "The store." He'd say, "Picked up baby back ribs," and she'd stamp it with, "Baby back ribs." To some people it was an annoying habit. To me, it was just Laura being Laura. She was sweet, but she drank heavy, a 30-pack a day. I stopped talking to her after my dad died. A drunken argument about computers of all things. She said they made mistakes. I told her computers don't make mistakes. People do. Neither of us would back down. That was it. After Tom died, Mecosta felt different. He was the rock. We also stopped at Aunt Bee and Uncle Archie's. Archie was my dad's uncle, so Bee was my grandaunt by marriage. Archie had diabetes, lost one leg, then the other, and passed when I was still young. He was a cool man, loved me a lot. Bee, she had a thing for my dad. She'd flirt with him, even pull at his belt in front of me. He couldn't stand her for it, especially since she was his uncle's wife. Once we came over, and she had every window and door shut in the middle of a 100-degree day. My dad had to bust in and save her before she overheated. Bee claimed she babysat me my whole life, but my dad said no. He just stayed here a couple hours now and then. She had a little white boy living with her for a while. Don't know his story. He was my friend, then gone. Their house had 2 TVs stacked, one with no picture, one with no sound. They'd sync them on the same channel and watch like that. Never had cable or satellite, just rabbit ears. Another stop was Junebug's place. He had horses, one named Big Red, that he said was mine. Every time I came up, I brushed him, loved on him. We called him Big Red because I always chewed Big Red gum. Junebug also had one of those giant satellite dishes, hundreds of channels. One night, they caught me watching Playboy. My dad snapped, "What are you doing?" Junebug just laughed, told him to let me watch. He's gonna see it sooner or later. What's the big deal? That was Junebug, cool as hell. When he died, my dad cried at the funeral. First and only time I ever saw him cry. The reunions themselves were the heart of it. Picnic tables, grill smoking, kids running around, cousins everywhere. At night, we'd drift from house to house along the long road where everyone lived. I remember Bruce Haywood, one of the Tuskegee Airmen. He had a house full of grandchildren. His son once tried to fight me, drunk, because I said my dad could out-weld anyone. Bruce shut it down. Another time, Bruce told me he wanted to kill himself. Felt like he wasn't any good anymore. I told him to think of his grandchildren. Don't know if it helped. I never saw him again after that day. His brother Ronnie once let me drive his truck drunk. Barely watched me, but I learned something. There was also Fanny. I stayed with him and his two boys for a week once. We got in trouble selling corn on the roadside. Deer corn. Didn't even know the difference. Trying to hustle quarters for the arcade at the big bar. And the bars, mecosta, had two. The small bar and the big bar. At the small bar, a waitress scooped ice with her bare hands. My dad refused the drink. She said, "My hands are clean." He told her, "I don't give a fuck about your hands. I'm not drinking it." After that, we were regulars at the big bar. Later in life, when we moved to Remus, the big bar was still part of our story. Owned by a young blonde man with cancer. One night, someone called my dad the N-word. The owner kicked him out, bought my dad's drinks, and became a friend until cancer took him. Up north was more than reunions. It was smoke from the grills, laughter over picnic tables, the creek running cold, the bars at night, horses in pastures, cousins in the yard. It was a second life, parallel to Grand Rapids, and it was ours.